This is 1 Minute at Orangecreams, the Five Nights at Freddy's fan game I made in 4 weeks. In it, you must survive for 1 minute against me. I start on one end of the building and I slowly make my way over to you. Then, you shoot me. The gameplay is pretty much entirely a joke, and that's because this was my first time ever using Godot. Okay, I mean first real time if you don't count whatever this is. My goal was purely just to learn Godot. I started out with sloppy placeholder graphics made in Paint. I wanted to have the entire game playable before even thinking about making the art. Gameplay has always been what I struggle with the most, so I need to make sure I could actually do it before wasting my time on the art. If I really wanted to, I could have made a normal game with more characters and enemy AI, but I just wanted to keep things simple. Part of that was because this wasn't just my first time making a game in Godot. It was my first time making a game in any real game engine. Before this, I had only used Roblox, which I clung onto for far too long because I was afraid of coding. Sure, you do real coding in Roblox, and it actually taught me a lot, but making a game in a real engine still felt impossible. I guess I thought by making the gameplay as simple as I could, I would save time. But to my surprise, coding in Godot was actually easy? In some ways, it was kind of the same as Roblox. In some ways, it was even simpler. Coding the game was probably the least time-consuming part of this. I finished the main gameplay in only a day. I once saw someone describe making a game like this. One of these chains is gameplay and the other is art. You can do one part of it, but eventually you're gonna snag and have to start on the other part. Maybe not the perfect analogy, but you get the picture, right? So I made art until I needed code again. Then I'd try to do as much code as possible before starting back up on the art, which was the actual most time-consuming part of making this. Before this, I had never really drawn backgrounds that look this good. I'm really proud of what I was able to make. I actually started the process by blocking out the entire place in Blender. This let me trace my 3D models in Photoshop, and the perspective would still be good even at crazy camera angles. I thought it'd be interesting if the wallpaper in each room had its number plastered all over it, and then the office just says U. I made these wallpapers using like 4 different softwares. Blender knows to make some interesting looking noise, Paint.net to apply a medium blur which makes it look very painterly, then GIMP to make it tile seamlessly, which I'm certain is something Photoshop has, but for some reason I keep using GIMP and it's literally the only thing I use it for. I probably could have used Photoshop for all of this, but I just don't really like using it. It's too big and confusing, it takes forever to load. Originally, I tried adding the textures by warping them and trying to put them in place, but it just wasn't working. Then I realized I could just do it in Blender. I'm not sure how other background artists do this kind of thing. It's probably a common technique, but it really felt like I'd found some sort of a cheat code. By the way, I'm really proud of this carpet effect I did. I just went around the edge adding lumps and bumps and filled it in, and I think it looks really cool. Originally, I wanted to try adding real looking shadows, but it was hard and it just wasn't turning out right. Eventually, I settled on just going in with a soft black brush and darkening areas like cracks and corners to make it look just a little more finished. I kinda messed up by doing all the shading before adding the objects, but it is nice that I have these clean, empty versions of the backgrounds. I just think that's nice. Drawing the actual objects was roughly the same. Most of them were in 3D. A lot of things here are really niche references to things my friends made. I don't really know how to use Photoshop that well. I filled in all the colors and everything by hand. I would use the paint bucket tool and then manually color in the gaps. There's definitely a better way to do that, and I probably should have just looked it up because this took a lot of time. When it came to drawing Orangecreem, I didn't use 3D this time. And maybe he looks a little flat, but that just makes him more accurate. My favorite one to draw was the one where he dies. And also the jump scare was fun to make. Pretty much just the ultimate custom night method of a PNG image shaking around with motion blur. What I loved about making this, and why I think it was such a great first project, was that everything I did felt instantly like it just made the game way better. I didn't have to spend hours coding some system that takes forever to show up. I remember the day I removed all the placeholder camera UI and added static. It suddenly felt like I was playing a real game. And there were still placeholders everywhere. It only took 4 weeks of my time. I only worked on it for about an hour to 3 hours every day, and I was really enjoying making it. I learned that if I just sit down and do the work and make something I enjoy making, it'll basically make itself. What I love about game development is that I'm never stuck. If I need a break from one part of it, I can just do something else. It satisfies both the part of my brain that wants to be creative and come up with new ideas, and the part of my brain that just wants to sit down and grind. I kept making games on Roblox because I thought real game engines would be too hard. Really, I was just afraid to fail. I can't say for certain that I'll never come back to Roblox. Like, I still want to finish the dinosaur game, but now I don't feel like I have to. I wanted to try and use as many features of Godot as possible, so I decided to use just a little bit of 3D for the credits. I think soon the majority of my games will be 3D, so I've got to start early. This model kinda sucks, but I gave him the good old Mixamo Gangnam style animation, so it's pretty funny. I wanted a stark contrast in tone from you killing Orangecreem and just sitting in silence, and then suddenly he's dancing. I needed music for the credits and title screen, so I called upon my boy Jack Magic to make me some slop. I think it sounds alright. I've been debating whether or not I should start making music for my games, because on one hand it would be really nice to be able to do everything myself. Even if it isn't great, I can at least say I made everything in the game. But also I'm already trying to learn programming, 3D modeling, 2D art, video editing, and a bunch of other junk. Learning music right now might be a bit of a waste of time, and I don't know, might cause me to forget other stuff. So, the game is done. You can go play it right now in your browser for free, and I think you should. It could only possibly waste 1 minute of your time, and you can spare 1 minute of your time to little ol' me, right? See you later.